Hey Tyler, good to see you. How you doing?
Not too bad. How about yourself, Kev?
I'm doing all right. We've had a bit of a rough weekend here in Phoenix, and we've got two games coming up this week to finish off the season. So it's a good thing, but it's going to be a busy week.
Absolutely.
So, what did you think about the game against Reno on Saturday? We've had a lot of chatter about this game, especially in context of the playoffs looming in the distance now.
Yeah, not so far distance anymore. I mean, you're basically a week away. But Devin and I both were just so after JJ missed those two opportunities in the first half, we just sort of looked at each other and shrugged our shoulders because I mean it's an old adage and it's an adage that is sort of blatantly obvious, but goals change games. And if JJ finishes off either one of those, it completely changes how Reno plays. They were sitting in a pretty deep block as it was. Ian Russell shelled out a lineup that I don't think a lot of people could have expected, but still ended up playing really well. Bersano, Arizona native, ends up getting the start in an emotional game and ends up having, the game of his life. So like, it was one of those ones where yes, you're frustrated because now your destiny is not in your own control anymore. And from what you told me, Didier and Solomon obviously were very frustrated after the game, and rightfully so. I mean, those are two of the most competitive guys, not on Phoenix, but probably in the USL. And, it's frustrating because there was all this talk of, okay, if we win these last three games, we're the number one seed, and now you have to go and wait to see what Orange County does against Reno. But that's okay because the team is still figuring out how to play with Didier since he's coming back. You can't expect Cortez to just come on in the last 5 minutes and score a goal every single time. If he did that,
Now, wait. I got to hear that again. We can't expect Cortez to just show up on the field and just make a goal in 3 or 4 minutes every time.
even though it might seem like that's what's going to happen, you cannot expect it because everybody's going to get let down at some point. But yes,
It's funny though, because when he comes on the field, it's almost what people are expecting. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, he set himself up for that. I mean, because
when you
he's done.
score 17 goals, you're sort of you're putting yourself in that situation where, yeah, you're expected to basically score every other game. So, he scored that goal against St. Louis. He didn't against Reno. So if he comes on against Vegas, the history has told us that he will put the ball in the back of the net once more. But overall, Kevin, I know that a lot of Phoenix fans were frustrated. And I just want to say to those frustrated fans, deep breaths. Goose Fraba, for those people who have seen what's anger management with Adam Sandler and Jack Nichols. So just deep breaths and take care of your business in Vegas. See what happens against T2 and hope that Orange County and Reno, beat each other up. And it's either a draw or a Reno win at the end of 90 minutes. And if it's not, it's not. It's Orange County. I mean, I told you, for those people who were at the game and ended up watching it again, Devin and I were looking at each other every single time we would, refresh the S2 Orange County game on the USL website. And we said it on air. We're just waiting for that 93rd, 94th minute goal from Orange County because every time this season they've been able to find it. And if it ends up being one of those seasons where Orange County gets that couple lucky bounces and they end up 1 point ahead of Phoenix in the standings and they come out on top of the Western Conference, so be it. Hats off to them. You have to give credit where credit is due. It's tough pill to swallow with what you and I to believe it should be their rival, their official rival, and just take care of business in the postseason. Because at this point, that's all you can do. You can't backtrack. Vegas, T2, and let's move on to the playoffs.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I'm going to support what you just said because I firmly believe that Orange County needs to be our arch rival in the USL. There's just no other team. People want Vegas, and I'm like, no, Vegas is just the little kid you beat up every once in a while because you have to. Orange County has, like you were saying before, we tie with them. They come back in the last minute, to tie games at the beginning of the season this year. They beat us once. They tie with us. We beat them once. We tie with them. They are just a frustrating crew, and I have all due respect for them, but I hate them.
and that is what a rivalry is supposed to be about. I mean, if you look back to some of the greatest rivalries of all time, I mean, besides the Boston and the Yankees, there's no respect between those two teams at all. But Boston and LA in basketball back in the 80s, there was a mutual respect because each team knew that the other team was one of the best in the world. And, it would always be a fantastic game. And Duke, North Carolina, there's a tremendous amount of respect, but they're going to beat up on each other. And it's anybody's guess who's going to win on that given day. And a rivalry needs to be where both teams end up winning at some point or exchanging wins. I mean, the Duke North Carolina rivalry up like this year was basically split down the middle. And that's basically what Phoenix and Orange County is right now. They drew basically 1-1 every single time last year, win, draw, and a loss for both teams this year. They're a terrific franchise, no matter which way you want to phrase it. I mean, they have a great backing. They're a very, very good side, and they're an independent side, and it's fun every single time that PRFC plays them. So that should be the official rivalry, if you're asking me, and I know that you agree as well.
Yep, we're on the same page. And like you said, if I go in the stadium expecting a win like I would with Las Vegas, that takes all the fun out of it. I want to be able to sit there and, feel a little tension, going on, and then great satisfaction when we beat them. So. And huge frustration when we lose. Anyways, Orange County definitely. Something that has been a big focus here is that number one spot. We hit number one, as the lone number one there for 24 hours. It was a huge deal, and it was a big milestone for Phoenix Rising. But the fan base has kind of latched onto being in first place as an important thing, and I'm like, I don't care. We said that, I think, in the first time we ever did this talk on the pitch thing. I don't care if we're in first place or not. It's kind of like FC Cincinnati celebrating, being the regular season champion. I mean, it's just meaningless. What matters is we get home field advantage. We're going to get that. We got to win out. We got to go to Cup. We got to win. Otherwise, nothing matters to me. But there has been a lot of expectation and a lot of self-induced hype around number one. So I think that's really added to the frustration and concern of the fans. That, coupled with the fact that we're not seeing the offense for one weekend that we have been used to seeing over the past several weeks. So the sky is not falling. We have adjustments to make. Rick Shantz, to me, is really adjusting well, and he's mixing it up, because I'm a firm believer. If we go in playing our style of ball, predictable style of ball against FC Cincinnati, we will lose. I think they are going to study us. If we go against them, they're going to study us. They're going to know what we got to do. And I think, I have no idea because he hasn't said anything to me, I think that's what's in Rick Shantz's mind too, is that we have to mix it up. We've got to have some surprises. We got to experiment so that we know how to execute those surprises. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but we're not sacrificing by giving up a game like we did with Reno. What do you think? Am I full of it?
No, you're not full of it. The fact that Didier's come back now makes Phoenix Rising that much more unpredictable, because, as you pointed out, and that Devin and I have certainly noticed over the past few weeks, is that the game that Phoenix plays is much different when Didier's on the field, just because he's the most technical and best passer that Phoenix has, that the league has. And it allows everybody to move forward. It allows the hold-up play to be that much better. Not that Chris hasn't done a good job of that. He's obviously done a sensational job. But it's just different, right? When you have one of the greatest players of all time as your number 9 or whatever position he's playing at the moment, it makes you that much more dangerous, and teams have to respect it. So they're going to sag off. That's exactly what Reno did. And because Phoenix didn't get those goals, they were able to, build a little bit more confidence. They, if you let teams hang around, it's another, old saying that they're going to hurt you or they're going to frustrate you, and both happened. So being unpredictable, yes, is going to help. Now, I will say this: don't stray too far away from the things that have made you successful. Because if you look at Louisville last year, that's a team where everybody knew what they were trying to do. But what's the mark of a really good team is a side that knows exactly what they're going to try to do, and everybody else in the world knows what you're going to do, and you still can't beat them because they're that good at doing it. So
like a Bayern Munich, they're a great example of that.
Exactly. So what's been successful for Phoenix is really strong defending, organized at the back with, Dia, Farrell, DeFont, and Saad along the back line, getting the ball to Solomon Asante by any means necessary, because he's going to be able to break down defenders, and that's going to be able to open up space, and clinical finishing in the box. I mean, that's basically what it's come down to. And then Kevon Lambert, James Musa holding it down in the middle of the field. It's a collective effort, right? Just don't stray away from that. It's okay to be unpredictable, and bring on Billy Forbes and bring on Devin Vega and give different looks throughout courses of the game. But it's just a matter of just getting back to what Phoenix knows how to do, and then also finding ways to benefit from Didier Drogba being on the field, even though the kilometers covered probably isn't going to be as much as Chris Cortez being on the field. There's still things that Didier obviously does that are better than Chris Cortez in different areas of the game and that his teammates can benefit from, which Jason Johnson should have benefited from twice. And I'm sure nobody needs to tell him that the finishing needs to be better in the final third. And if it is, then Phoenix probably runs away with a 4 or 5-0 win, in my honest opinion.
That's interesting. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I like the fact that what we're doing with our midfield and even with our backs with Amadou, we're pulling everybody a lot more forward. And we seem to be getting more creative. And we're having success with that creativity, except we're not getting into the back of the net. We've got to be able to finish. Now, one thing I did notice on Saturday, and darn my bones, I didn't look this up. I should have looked at statistics before we talked. It looked like we had a lot of missed passes, that our passing percentage was way down, especially in the midfield. A lot of interceptions by Reno. I was sitting in my seat just going, what, are we watching the U.S. men's national team here? What's going on? Sorry, U.S. men's national team.
You said it.
It's true. It was very frustrating there. So it seemed like we gave up possession time a good bit. And some of our creativity was stifled maybe because we weren't getting those passes in. There were times where we were going down the sidelines and we could have had an open man. I remember distinctly one time, JJ streaking down the left-hand side of the field. Gladson, all he had to do was not even throw the ball. He just had to get it past the defender, and it wasn't a difficult pass to do. He shot it too close to the defender. The defender blocked it, and it was all done. That would have been a third breakaway for JJ. So, there's some execution stuff going on there, but we'll see.
I do want to say one thing. Jason hadn't made an appearance since August 26th, hadn't scored a goal since June 17th. So
yeah,
let's give him a little bit of a break because to be able to come on like that, and he hasn't played with Didier since Didier's been back. So give him a little bit of wiggle room, considering the fact that he had not made an appearance in over 2 months. He still looked very good and still looked fleet of foot and looked fit. So those are all encouraging signs. I could very well see him scoring at least one goal against Vegas if he is in a starting position. And even if he comes off the bench, I could still see him scoring because he's that good and he's been that dynamic. It hasn't been the goal scoring input that we're used to seeing in 2017, but he still does so many things in terms of stretching the field. And if there is going to be somebody who's going to be the ultimate beneficiary of Didier's great play, it's probably Jason, because the legwork and long strides and his ability to get into space, Didier's going to find him by any means necessary. Solo likes to have it at his feet, not so much in his space. So JJ, for that reason, is going to benefit from that, and that's where they need to try to exploit it.
I totally agree. And if I sounded like I was being negative on
No,
JJ, I would not be
clear to the fans that if anybody's like sort of holding it against him or saying, it should be Billy in that position, whatever it may be, let's remember that was his first start and first appearance since August 26th.
I talked to JJ briefly after the game, and I said, you know what, you were out there and you were just handling the ball like you always did. And he was when it came to his footwork. He just didn't finish, and he was frustrated because of that. I would have, like I told you, it looked like me playing FIFA. It was terrible. Something else that I remember, you remember when Drogba had somebody, he was at midfield, and he had somebody on him, and he did a little turn and just hit the ball with his right foot and looped it 40 meters, and it landed right at Solomon's feet. I mean, I was sitting there and I just was like, that is DDA right there. If we can do that. And Solomon, he played off the ball a little bit. We didn't get the opportunity to finish, but that's the danger zone right there. And I think that's what you were alluding to before.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a magic man. It's going to be interesting. So we've got Las Vegas on Wednesday. You should never dismiss a team, but I'm coming as close to dismissing it as I can without dismissing it. I'm going to be there. We're going to try and raise a little bit of hell while we're in the stadium, so that should be fun. And then Portland.
Say hi to Dolly and Dottie for me.
I was going to say, Dolly, is that next to Candy and Bubbles? I don't know. I'm sorry?
Yeah, I said yes, exactly. That's exactly who they are.
Oh, man. Then we got Portland on Saturday, of course. And Portland, again, is another team that can be scrappy. Not as much of a threat as some of the higher-ranked teams for sure, but they can be scrappy. And it seems like when they want to sit back, kind of like what Reno did, they can be very difficult from a defensive posture. So I don't see the Portland game necessarily being a high-scoring game. I don't see the Portland game being a given by any stretch. I do see us being able to use Portland a little bit, Vegas more, to experiment a little bit more if that's indeed what Rick is doing. I'm looking forward to the game. You're going to be in town with Devin?
We will be in town. We're unbelievably excited. I mean, this has been circled on our calendars for as long as possible. we are like unbelievably excited. And funny story about it actually, because we do almost all of our games from Florida, and with the exception of like a freelance opportunity here and there, we're stuck in these studios in Dania Beach, Florida, where I actually live. And so my boss, the executive producer, really likes to mess with me and get me riled up and push my buttons, which is very easy to do. And he and Sam Dorr, as well as Devin, basically held off on telling me that it was official that we were going to be heading out there for basically like a week and a half. And Devin and I were sort of trying to plan our own trip out there regardless of what was going to happen with our boss. And, Sam was in on trying to keep the secret and everything like that. And then my boss called me in and was trying to make me feel like I had done something wrong, with regards to an NWSL game, something that I was nervous about that didn't even end up being a thing. And said, so we just wanted to let you know that, you're going to be taken off of every single one of the NWSL games for the rest of the season. This was weeks ago. But it will free you up to go do a game on site in Phoenix on October 13th. And I was like, and I couldn't even enjoy the moment because I still thought that I was taken off these NWSL games.
Yeah, and you're like,
and he goes, what, not even a reaction? I was like, I'm still really confused. Am I off the NWSL games? He goes, no, you idiot. You're going to Phoenix. This is our way of telling you. So it's awesome. Running joke, and we're very, very excited, and we're looking forward to just being out there, getting immersed with the community, the fans. We're going to be kids in a candy shop. This has been an unbelievable season. We're just excited to be able to finally share it with you guys.
No, that's going to be great. Have you been able to find out if you're going to be able to get on the pitch with the team at all during practice?
We have not asked just yet. It's on our list. We're actually having a conversation with, I think, Sam and Bobby later today. So Devin and I are going to ask if maybe we can just jog around with the boys for a little bit on Friday morning.
That's a blast.
Yeah, if I don't take my meniscus for the fourth time, but knock on wood.
Yeah, try to refrain from doing that. Well, now, would you be calling the game when you're here?
Say that again?
Will you be calling the game when you're here?
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured. So you're going to be up in the press box?
We will.
Huh. Okay.
Yep.
So, I have access to that press box. So, yeah, I can.
I get a little bit nervous, and I'm nervous to hear you heckling the opposing players and everything like that. So I'll finally get to see you in full force as well.
Yeah, I lost a girlfriend over that pretty much, so. His priorities.
I guess so.
Not really. Oh, man. Anyways, well, I'm looking forward to seeing you here. Remember, you got a checklist. You got to try Phoenix Rising Lager. Okay.
Yep.
Very, very important.
Absolutely.
Tell Devin I've got that bobblehead waiting for him here. So leave some room in his bag to take that. And there you go. Yeah, I don't have any more of those. They're out of those. We can't even get those.
He stares at me whenever I'm doing my prep work and making sure that I'm focused and not having my mind wander off. So thank you, Dibla, for keeping me in check.
You just press the button, get energized by his song.
Yeah,
I think that's it. Any last thoughts here as we go through this week for the Phoenix Rising fans?
As always, and something that just should be said more often, enjoy the journey. If it's not the one seed, it's something else. Enjoy the fact that Phoenix is even in this position, didn't even have a home game last year. It'll be at the Phoenix Rising Soccer Complex for at least 2 games. It's going to be very, very exciting. And enjoy Vegas, Kevin. And October 13th can't come soon enough. It's going to be an awesome, awesome atmosphere.
Super. Well, as always, I appreciate your insight and your time. It is fabulous to talk with you. Looking forward to seeing you here in Phoenix and just having a good time. The good times are gonna roll. We just now got to figure out how we get you out here for a playoff game. See, that would be great.
Sam, you heard it here first.
There you go. All right, Tyler. Well, good luck with the broadcast tomorrow night, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, Kev. Appreciate it.